Well, good morning or good afternoon or whatever it is in your part of the world, wherever you happen to be. Welcome along to the A2K webcast on Autodesk Docs versus BIM Collaborate Pro for civil engineers. My name is Dean Peterson. I'm one of the civil and geospatial techs for A2K. We've got a few people joining us still at the moment, I think, but we'll go through the preamble and they should hopefully, anybody that was turning up will be turned up by that point in time. I can see in the attendees there's a few names I recognise. Hello to you guys. There's also, I believe, Chris in the Auckland office who said he will field any of the difficult questions that any of you guys ask during this webcast. So for those who haven't done much with A2K before, we have several branches, which include branches of what we do, which include the education side of things, both the training in the products that we sell and support, and the likes of this webcast is the sort of the general knowledge and keeping people updated on what's going on side of things. And also we have a consulting side, which is things we can do such as project-based assistance, etc., for coming on site and doing work with you. Why A2K? Well, we actually have a very large footprint throughout Australia and New Zealand and also up into Asia, and also we are part of a much larger group of companies as well that are global. We have, we deal with many large software partners, some of which you can see in the list here, and there are other ones that are you'll see listed on our website as well. So we cover a lot of territory there. Also, we are very committed to our customers. Many of our staff, all of the techs and certainly some of the sales staff as well, actually come from the industry. And so we understand the sorts of problems and needs that you have, and we certainly try to meet and help with those the best we absolutely possibly can. So for those who don't know me, I'm based in Nelson, top tip of the South Island in New Zealand. I came up through the civil engineering industry and have been doing this particular job now for quite some time. So what are we here to look at? I've been asked to do this presentation from a civil perspective, a view from the civil perspective of the Autodesk cloud technologies, the what has been developed as the BIM technologies. Many of you may have noticed in the AEC collection of AEC products, civil products, and architectural products too. There's a big suite called the AEC collection, and in the 2022 version, there is now access to Autodesk Docs. You have a license of that. So the major part of this webcast will be looking at what that actually gives you. As you can see, if you've had a look in those in the last year or so, or since sort of April, there is now underneath all the products that are listed in that AEC collection, the docs for AEC collection. Hopefully you can see those little circles on my screen. That is your access to Autodesk Docs, and either give yourself access to it, or you can grant your staff access to it to let them have access to the license under their username. So it works the same as the other Autodesk products under your username for the licensing side of things. So we need to look at what that actually is if you haven't looked already. So the whole BIM cloud storage and access product, if you like, BIM 360 as it was known previously, has now been changed to a slightly different name, and it's been expanded a little bit from what it was. But the fundamental part of the BIM cloud storage structure is the Autodesk Docs product. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail in a couple of next slides. But in terms of what the docs actually gives you, the first part here up the top, it gives you the storage up on the cloud, infinite storage for files There is no limit. So presumably, if they're getting close to the limit, they'll make more storage. It also gives multi-person access. So if somebody has a license, or many people have a license, they can all access those same files, but there is also the ability to restrict permissions on those files as well. So there's a lot of control you get over what's actually being kept on the cloud and who accesses it, who uses it, who can change it. We're going to have a close look at that, but I want to just cover off the basics here in the PowerPoint first. Oh, by the way, as we're going through, I did say Chris was going to handle all the hard questions, but there is a chat facility and a Q&A facility in the little webcast toolbar that you should have on your screen. You can put things in there, questions in there as we go, and we'll try and look back at the end and cover those off before we finish. So yes, the second line here talks about assigning user access and permissions. What it also does is all the files that are up on the site are will have versioning and tracking maintained on them. Also drawing locking. If somebody has a drawing open, nobody else will be able to open it, certainly a civil drawing, until that's closed. You don't get people writing over the top of each other. So there is versioning. And it will, I believe, tell you who's got it open. The desktop connector is required. That's like, well, it's a replicated or connected drive like you would have for, say, OneDrive or something like that. The desktop connector, let's see if I can show it to you. Windows Desktop shows up down here. Autodesk Desktop connector, that's it. And it puts a series of files, that's my OneDrive ones, in here under Autodesk Docs. And those are your replicated drives. So it will replicate the files you're working on that are up on your Autodesk Docs or Autodesk BIM website, and allow you them to function. They go through this and then get updated onto the website, or sorry, the cloud site, in the same way as OneDrive would work. You can come in here and clean these out as well if they're getting too big on your local machine. So it just only stores the files that you've been working on, no others. Okay, so that is required, and it's a little download from the Autodesk website to get the desktop connector. That does get updated regularly. You do need to make sure you have the latest version. What the Docs license will also allow you to do is work with other projects that people have already been set up. So the BIM 360 side of things has been developed largely over the years and is used a lot by the architectural and structural engineering side of the AEC, and the ability now for the civil users having a license through the AEC collection is that we can now accept invitations that they give to us to go and join their projects, start collaborating with them online, up in the cloud, and start working in their projects when we are asked to, which makes it easy. We've already got the license. We also have browser access through what I call the large model viewer. So we will be looking at that as we go. All of this cloud system runs through your browser. Everything that I'm going to show you in this webcast is all through my browser. I'm using Firefox. Firefox and Chrome, I think, are the best ones for this to work through, if I remember correctly. It also allows you to send links to people that you want to, or other people from that are involved in your particular project can use the links to go and view your drawings, Civil 3D drawings, Revit models, even InfraWorks models can be seen through this large model viewer through a browser. They or anybody else who wants to look at your drawings and you give access to them can go and see your files, your models in 3D through their browser, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to show you some of that. So they don't actually need Civil 3D software to view your files anymore. They won't be able to manipulate them, but they can certainly go and view them, make comments and things like that. And that's what the whole thing's all about, being able to work collaboratively online through the cloud. You're also going to have markups and issues. So through that collaborative process, you can go and the people that have been invited to see those models can make markups and draw on layers on a markup layer, and also start issues. So raise questions and get those resolved and answered, or answered and resolved. And remember, it is browser driven, so you can actually take a tablet out into the field. As long as you've got data coverage, you'll be able to access everything that's up on the cloud out in the field, which is also a very, very cool thing to have. So you've now got all of that if you've got the AEC collection. If you don't have the AEC collection, if you've just got Civil 3D, maybe it's time to start thinking about maybe we should go and have a look at that. What does it look like? So before we actually go and have a look at the nuts and bolts and give it the visuals of what it actually looks like, let's talk a little bit more about what it actually is that we've actually got. So what we've actually got is, well, all the stuff here was what was called originally BIM 360 design. It's now been renamed. So that the new name for it, sorry, I was just checking something there. So the new name for it is BIM Collaborate, or BIM Collaborate Pro. What we've got is the small part of BIM Collaborate, which is this document management side of things. That is what we've got access to through the AEC collection. It does actually quite a lot, as I just showed in the previous slide, but the actual BIM Collaborate Pro here is actually far more than that. In the civil side of things, the most important part of BIM Collaborate Pro that you might want is BIM collaboration for Civil 3D, which allows the files that are up on BIM 360 on the cloud can use specific functions that Civil 3D requires, such as and mainly it is just related to the data shortcuts. Now, the document management, Autodesk Docs, as it's now called, can do some things with that cloud, with the Civil data shortcuts, but not everything. So you may need to consider having a look at least at a couple of versions of BIM Collaborate Pro if you're getting into this process, so that you do have the access to that, or at least somebody does in your company. However, let's talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to, once we've gone through the BIM 360 docs, or the Autodesk Docs as it's now known, side of things, I will be going to have a look at a quick overview of some of these other components as well to show you what these are. I'm certainly not an expert on those. We do have people who deal almost exclusively in the BIM 360 side of things at A2K. And if you're wanting to know further than what I'm going to be showing you in this webcast, please get in contact with A2K and we can get one of those guys to show you the nuts and bolts of how everything is set up. I'm absolutely no expert in this yet, but I am coming from the civil side of things, so I'm at the same sort of point as what you guys are, I guess, just getting started. All right, let's go through. And next step, we're talking about, well, who uses what part? Who uses the BIM Collaborate Pro side of things? Who uses the docs? Who uses BIM Collaborate without the Pro bit? So the idea is that reviewers can access the particular project. The project is a blue ball in the middle that you're working on. Through Docs, you can upload files onto the project. Through Docs, you can also view and review those documents and everything that's up inside the project, all the files. And also you can do the same through BIM Collaborate, but it gives you more functionality than just the docs. So in terms of what we've got in the AC collection, it's just these Autodesk docs down the bottom corner, but that's sort of for the reviewer level, that's fine. Also, maybe okay moving into some of the design level as well. However, if you want to go to full design, full authoring of the files, the civil 3D files in particular, that are in the project, BIM Collaborate Pro will give you the part that is relates to being able to use the data shortcuts up on the cloud and particularly create them. So for people, it's intended that for people actually authoring and working with the civil 3D files up on the project, that they would probably have BIM Collaborate Pro, or at least somebody does. So in terms of what that will give you, in terms of what that little bit extra gives you in terms of being able to do the data shortcuts. Here you can see that Autodesk Docs, the docs that you have in the AEC collection, does give you some functionality for working with data shortcuts, like synchronizing them, opening the source drawings, validating them even, setting the working folder. All those things can be done with a normal version of Autodesk Docs. You simply, when you open your files, your Civil 3D drawing that's been saved up to the cloud, you just do that through your start page on your version of Civil 3D, and you'll see all your files up on Autodesk Docs, and you can just click on them and open them in the normal way, and then will have this functionality. However, the things you won't be able to do if you're just using Autodesk Docs is to actually create, and that's the important part, create new data shortcuts folders and actually create new data shortcuts. Now, if you just take your files that you've got on your current network that have data shortcuts and you put them up onto the cloud system, which is just an upload facility or a function. If they have data shortcuts already on them, you can repath them once they're up there. So if you take your design drawings and the drawings that are data shortcutted into them, put them all up onto the cloud, you can repath them. You should be able to do that through this data shortcuts editor once you get it there. However, if you've got drawings that are already up on the cloud, in the cloud BIM 360 system, and you want to make new data shortcuts, then that's the time you're going to need BIM Collaborate Pro. I actually have full BIM Collaborate Pro, so I haven't really been able to experiment with the full facility of everything you can do with Autodesk Docs in relation to the data shortcuts, because I actually have the full version. But that's the main difference, is that the creation of new ones. But if you take a drawing that already has data shortcuts and put them up onto the cloud, I'm pretty sure that you can repath them once they're up there and make them work again, so that they're working on the cloud system, even though they haven't been created there. All right, so quick overview. That's the main differences between Docs and the BIM Collaborate Pro, which gives you the extra data shortcuts functionality. That's the main difference between the two in terms of the civil functionality. However, the BIM Collaborate Pro also gives you the ability to do clash detections and more project-based functions as well, which we're going to have a look at. So without further ado, let's actually go and have a look, shall we? So I'm going to just bring my browser up here. And this, which you're looking at here, if I close it up for a minute, is BIM 360 Docs. So you'll get a login for this, and then you can just open up, log in with your username to BIM 360 Docs, and this is what it looks like. There is just a folder system down the side here. Now you can set up any folder system you want up here, but what I've got here is what's pretty much been established as good working practice amongst the architecture and structural industry who are already using this and using it in a big way too. In that, we have a work in progress folder, and underneath that, for all of the different industries that are involved in this particular project, they all have their own little folder under work in progress. Likewise, under shared, they all have their little folder for each industry, and further on down, same thing. Coordination here, I haven't got all of them done in here, but under coordination, I've only got a few. But each industry would set up their own set of folders that they work within. Looking at the civil folders that I've got here, I've actually got a few example files in here to work with, but you can, underneath the civil folder, you'd set up your own project structure, whatever you're used to using on Windows, you can set up in here. As I said, the storage is actually unlimited. You can actually put, I don't know how I can say it can be unlimited, but it is. There is no limit on the number of things you can store up in here and the number of megabytes and gigabytes that you've got. This particular drawing that I've got here is a civil drawing, and it's got this surveyed surface data shortcutted into it. So the data shortcuts, as you'll see when you go into there, do work. Now remember, this is in my browser. Now I can just click on this drawing to go and open it up. Now if I go to my 3D view here, don't worry about that, that's because I had a broken link when I started it up. If I go into my 3D view, I can go and have a look at my model. It's not a big one, but it has a grading surface in there. We can rotate around that, and we can go underneath the ground and see all my pipe networks and everything in my drawing. Now remember, this is just the viewer through the browser, through Civil 3D. I go and start it up, up here. Start that one up, let it start up while we're talking. You can actually go and open this drawing and work in it as per a normal Civil 3D drawing in your Civil 3D on your desktop. And when you save that drawing, it'll be saved back up into here. So there's your full Civil 3D drawing. I can view it, anybody can view it that I choose to. If they're part of the project, anybody that's allowed to view is the minimum permission level. Anybody that's allowed to view a particular folder can go and look at it. Talking about permissions, we should be able to find in here, here's the civil folders. If I go in there to the permissions, here we go. Who's got permission for the civil folders currently? It's Chad and myself. And if you want, you can add a new person to this particular folder. And we'll try Jason, Jay, yep. I'm gonna put Jay in there. And we can set a permission level for Jay. And this can be done for any subfolders, anything that we've got in here. Can you view only, view and download? Is he allowed to upload? Maybe all of those things. Maybe also edit. So you're allowed to edit these. Previous ones are not allowed to edit existing files. And full control is administrator rights, which I actually have here. So I've got full, both myself and Chad have full permission rights to these folders currently, but you can, anybody else that's in the project can be set up to come in here and be either restricted or allowed full access to all of the files that are in here. Better than that, well, not better than that, but as well as that, we've got versioning going on. So we actually have the ability to go back in time and see what's been done with this particular file, who saved it and when. So if I click on the versioning, here's all the saves that have been done for that particular file over time. I haven't changed that one for a while by the look of it. The other things you can do with this versioning are actually quite good. Well, the first one is, this is the current version, V4. None of this has got lost. It still exists in this infinite storage. So all of your previous versions of all of your previous files are all kept. So you can say, you know what, I really shouldn't have gone down that path with version 4 and 3, which were uploaded on those dates. I need to go back to this one and start again. So there's a button here that says make current. So we can go back to version 2. These ones still won't be lost, but they'll be the current one, and any subsequent ones will be based on version 2. You can copy them. You can actually download the source file. So that's still there. You can download it and have a look on your local machine rather than having to make the cloud version current. Could do that. And we've also got this, compare versions. So I'm going to compare, I'll try version 4 and version 3. I'm not sure what the differences are, but we'll have a look, see if we can find them. I go compare. Again, this is all through my browser. I can do this on site if I want to. I'm going to compare, not the 2D view. Let's go for the 3D view. You can do the 2D view, which is your layouts and things. You can compare the differences between your layouts if you've got those, but just for fun, I'm going to do the 3D. Looks like there is a difference. And this is all what you get for your Autodesk Docs out of the AEC collection. You've got all of this stuff. Get that fire up. It's going a little bit slow. Oh, we were looking at Civil 3D, weren't we? On the start page of Civil 3D, you're going to get Autodesk Docs. And that's where you can delve into project files, Civil folder, and open up the particular drawings that we've got. There's my platform design drawing there, and I can click on that and it will open it up on my local machine through that those shared or replicated folders that I showed you in the connector. All right, is this thing going now? No. It's a bit annoying. Give it another few seconds. It's probably because I'm running both this and the webcast at the same time, I think. It's just going slow. Try one more just before we leave. One more chance. I'll try version 2. Version 2 and version 4. Let's try that. View. View. Those ones. There we go. I'm not sure why that other one didn't work. Oh, we've got some great big grading blocks in here, which is exciting. We can compare each of these shows what the problem is or what the difference is between the models. Hard to see here at the moment, so I'm going to pop it into 3D. This actually has both of them drawn over the top of each other. I personally prefer to have them side by side. Here we go. And so as we rotate around in one view, we can see the other one, zoom in. You can see the other one over the other side here. It's a little bit harder to see that one actually. Version 4. But what this is actually highlighting is the things that are different between the two. So there's been, for instance, a feature line here. Around the outside there is existing in platform design. It's not in platform design 2. So I've deleted some stuff out by the look of it, just to clean up the drawing to make it a bit more user-friendly. Gradings, oh, that's those big grading diamonds. I removed those because they're obviously in the way. And there's another feature line as well. It looks like it's been removed from out of there. Okay, so it's given me the differences between the versions, which is nice. When you don't know what the differences are, jump into here and you can just sort through them. I'm going to close that compare. So that's versioning. And even if you delete something, that doesn't disappear either. It goes into the deleted items bin over on the side here. So you can always go back and get them. So it records everything. So that was an example of the large model viewer. So we can see the Civil 3D drawings or AutoCAD drawings or any sorts of drawings through the browser. Also things like your documents, PDFs, CSV files, they can all be viewed through here as well. All that stuff that you've got up on in the cloud can all be viewed. All on site available. We've also got was I thinking of just a moment ago? Oh, that's cool. We've got the ability to go and do things like these reviews and transmittals. So if we go and have a look at the reviews, transmittals is just bundling a bunch of files up and you can send them to the other project members, which is pretty straightforward. The reviews is an interesting one. I've set up some reviews in the background. So these are ones that have been done in the past. No, they're closed now. But what a review is you can, well, the idea behind these folders is that when you're working on your work in progress, you get, you're finished to a certain point and you want to publish your files to the other services, the other people working in this project. You would put them or move them to this shared folder. But you can set up effectively a workflow that you can select a file or a bunch of files and you can send them for a review, goes through to your manager or managers, might go through several people to be approved, and then it will automatically put it out in the shared folders for the other people working on the project, for instance, the architects or the manufacturing people, to be able to see your latest version of the file that you've released for them to use for their coordination side of things. And so where that happens is in the project management here. So you probably also have project admin, I think, as well, where you can set up the usernames, people that have access to this project, and who, what roles they have and things like that for the project as well. So it's further, rather than just folder access, you can give user access permission as well, which is good. Well, the one thing I didn't show just before we move on, that large model viewer, this is an InfraWorks model. It can take massive models, and they're looking through your browser again. So people don't have to have InfraWorks, they can just look at your whole model, and in fact all your bookmarks and things work. And for those who saw my webcast a while ago on the Nelson Council building, and there it is. And you can actually go through and walk around at ground level in the first person view. This may be coming through a little bit slowly in the webcast, so I won't go too fast. And have a look at a very, very big model. So I've obviously got a very small Civil 3D model there. This is much bigger than a Civil 3D model would be. It's now available through my browser. So that's brilliant to be able to have that and just give that to people. And in fact, you can share this through just a link. You can give people this link up here. And as long as the document is a public one, then they'll be able to see it. Okay, so project management here. Let that run through. Oh, sorry, project management's not where I wanted to be, I don't think. You're not going to see all these with the docs, I don't think. You're going to get document management, and I think you'll get this one. That's the RFIs. Not going to get the RFIs. That's not what I was looking for. Document management. Here we go. Reviews. That's what I was looking for. So this you will have in the docs. So a lot of these other things that I've been scanning through here are for the full BIM Collaborate, or sorry, should try and get the words right, Collaborate Pro. So you can make up these workflows. You can create a new workflow, but let's just have a look at one of these. Now, I'm no expert on these at all. This is where our BIM experts will be the people to talk to further beyond this webcast if you want to. But this one I've made for to release a particular document. So they can be multi-step. This is just a single step. You would bundle up or select a series of files. It goes through to this person who's the approver. They can stamp it with approved, rejected, or rejected with comments, and then it's going to take that those files and move them to a new folder, or copy them, not move them, into a new approved folder. Or we can go back to the other one. This one, submit for coordination, is to take them and move them to a coordination folder to go and do the clash detection with other services on site. So we're going to have a look at that in a minute too, but you're not actually going to have clash detection with the BIM 360 docs, but certainly the approval process you could set up. So what happens with the approval process is, if I go back to docs, you would go and select a couple of the files that you want. Go to the civil files again. I'm going to take the platform design and maybe on CSV as well. And up the top here, we've got submit for review. And the review you would select is civil document release, so that can be released and moved to the approved folder. If you want one of the folders in the substructure here, which you nominate or has been set up in the project. And it'll take those through. You can put some notes, and maybe the review name can be Foodcast. Make some notes down the bottom here if you want that, and it'll go to this. It'll actually be emailed to that person, or they'll get an email notification, I should say, and they'll be able to come into here. They'll be able to see the review that's been given to them. They can tick it yes or no. That's good. They'll be able to go through all those drawings because they can view them all through their browser, both the layouts and the 3D model if they want to. Check it's all good. Give it the tick. And then those files will be released to whichever folder and whichever people has been set up in the workflow. So all that stuff you get in the docs. And remember, it's all operating in your browser, so you can access this from anywhere. So it literally is an entire project up on the cloud, and it's got all that tracking and versioning. The other thing that it's got, which we haven't looked at, which is the thing I was trying to think of before, was these markups and issues. So anybody that has got access to this project will be able to open that civil drawing, whatever drawing it actually is. We'll go to the 3D again. And put in these sorts of things. Now, what these are, just bring that into an isometric view, are, well, first of all, markups. So anybody that's in the project can come into here and they can put a markup on a project like this, on a view like this, and put a cloud around it, give you a phone call and say, hey, look at that markup. What's going on here? Another one here, put a little arrow on it, those sorts of things. So that's pretty simple, just a simple markup layer. Nothing much to that. You just use this toolbar down the side to make new ones. You can, however, go the extra step, which is RFIs you're not going to get out. That's referral for information, or request for information, I should say. You will get in the docs these issues though. So an issue, if I click on this one here, is this one's actually been answered, which is why it's in blue. You can go spin around it and have a look. What's going on here? What's the question? There's something, a lump in that surface or something weird going on. And somebody said, queried it, and this query has been answered and put to bed. And so it's not a problem anymore. However, if you want to make a new one, we can go to here, issues, and escape out of that one. Make a new one. Escape. That one. Okay. So back into the issues now. Just had to hit escape a few times. Down the bottom here, I can create a new issue. So anybody that has access to this can do this. So usually it would be somebody that's reviewing it. And I can pick a point here, click on the surface. Okay, that's where it's going to be. What type of query is it, or issue is it? Let's call it building code question. Status is currently open. I don't want to draft. Title for this one, drainage. I can assign it. I would assign it to a particular person, so I'm going to assign it to myself. Put a close date on it. You've got 3 days to answer this, mate. He's not very good at answering his questions, that guy. And I don't think we have location set. No, we don't in this project yet. The owner is me. It's me that's making it. Could design deficiency possibly could be the problem, and in here description of what it is that I'm querying. So we'll drainage work here, and what will happen is the whole process will send out an email to the person this has been signed to. It'll have the details of this, and they'll should be able to come into here and look it up. It's not just in here, it's also, there's a whole project in the project system. You'll see that the all of these are kept until they're resolved. In fact, even after they're resolved. There we go, we've created that issue. And what happens is the person would come and find this particular issue. In fact, they'd probably go to, if we go back out of here, out of the drawing itself, they would probably go to the project admin pages. And there'll be a list of all the issues in the whole project, and they'll find the one that relates to them. Okay, that's going really slow. So you can just click on the one that's in the list when it eventually comes up. Again, it's going slow, I think, because the webcast is running as well. Click on that issue, it'll open up exactly what we were looking at there a moment ago with the 3D view and everything else that's been entered in there, and they can answer it. It'll get emailed back to the person that created it, and they can close it if they're happy with the answer. It's coming up slowly here. All right, so we probably we haven't got a huge amount of time left. So to start looking at what is the extra stuff you get with BIM Collaborate Pro. Well, part of that is what's trying to open up here at the moment. So I'm going to just close this thing too. Is in addition to the issues that can be raised, you can raise an RFI, a request for information. So it's like an issue, but it has a lot more fields and information that can be added to it. All of those issues can have extra documents and images and things attached to them too for further explanation. This is going really slow, this, so sorry about that. There we go. So if I go to, I'm not going to find it in there actually. Issues, here we go. Here's the issues I was looking for. So it'll be a big list, and there's several places you can see these big lists of what's going on with the project. But for the docs, it's going to be in here probably. And we can sort by various, by permission, by the types of issues, by the root causes that have been assigned to them. Yeah, I think this is just going slow. Sorry about that because of the webcast. But essentially that's the end, here we go, of where, oh, these are members, permissions, that's not what I wanted, issues, types. Oh no, this is the setting up of the types for the issues, that's not what I wanted actually. Probably project home. So you probably have a project home as well. But if we go to project home, we should be able to see some of the things now, so I'm going to draw a line in the sand now and say from now on, I'm going to be talking about what you get with BIM Collaborate Pro. So it's a lot more project-related functionality and being able to get reports and metrics on what's happening with the whole project. We get the extra RFI tools, which is request for information, which is, as I was saying, just up and above, over and above the issues. Sorry, this is going very slow, and yeah, it's unfortunately not a great deal I can do about that. There's also the ability to set up meetings. So meetings can be scheduled through the project itself in BIM 360 up on the cloud, and you know, that notification will go out to all the other members of the project. And then we want to look at the model coordination side of things and collision detection, because it does that up in here too. So what Navisworks would have done, this does. It's really going slow. It's a little unusual. Oh, here she comes. Ordinarily, you know, would take a couple of seconds to come through to here. So this is the a dashboard. I think you'll have this within 360 Docs, in which case you can see here's the RFIs, but here's the project issues. So where's the one? December 14th. It's today, isn't it? No, it's not. Oh, yes, it probably is actually. I probably haven't got my date set up properly. So that's the one we did today, and I can click on that. It would take me through. I'm not going to do that now. It would just slow things down as it's going very slow. But for the BIM Collaborate Pro extras, you're going to get the RFIs for those. You're also going to get these design packages that we can create and release. So let's go and have a look at those. So from here, I'm going to go into the, first of all, the model coordination side of things to look at the clashes. So this is where you can bring together from the different industries that are all working on this particular project, the models from each industry, and check them against each other, as you would do with Navisworks, but now it's all done on the cloud through a browser, so anybody can do it, including your managers, for instance, and the other staff that are not involved directly in the design of the project. They can come in and do these sorts of things as well, assuming they've been given permission. So you simply tick on the two different files that, or models that you want to clash. We've got one out of the architectural side of things and one out, one out of the civil side of things. So we've got two of them in there. Then these are just models that have been kept in different folders up on the cloud system, and clash them together. Now, because it's going slow, I'm just going to run through to a clash that's already been done. These are the things that were clashed, and we'll go and review them. We'll found as clashes, and we can go and review them. So it will load up the models, and it will say, okay, there's two clashes here. There's one that's actually been passed on as an issue already. But if we click on this one, it'll take you to it. You can tick it on, highlights the two things that are clashing. So there's a boundary beam here, or edge beam on the Revit model underneath here that is clashing with my Civil 3D pipe. That's actually a pressure pipe, that one. And the other one is the other beam by the look of it. Yeah, it's the other beam there. That beam and that beam. There is another, or there was another one, a third one, which is this pipe underneath here. That's actually been, for each one of these, you can actually go and create an issue for it and assign it to somebody and ask them to change it, and then they can bounce answers backwards and forwards to each other. That has already been done as an issue, so it's not showing as a unresolved clash yet. It's in the process of being resolved. So there's one here. this person's made an issue. That's the clash that was there. It's been assigned to me. I can come into here, I can look at it, I can add references, add other files, I can, and attachments, the activity, who's been doing what's been done, and I can actually go into here and I can download it as a PDF if I want to take it away, work with that person. If it's been resolved, I can go and put it answered, closed, or whatever we want to do with it. So if I'm not ready to do that though, I can simply add as a comment here. This comment will get reported back to the person that started the issue, and we can talk between ourselves in here if we don't want to pick up the phone or can't get them on the phone, and we can go through that process as well and keep it as a recorded messages in here. Are you sure? Question mark. And send that to them, and they'll get a notification of that and bounce it backwards and forwards until this issue is resolved, and you can say, yep, it's answered or closed. Happy with it's closed, we'll close it off, and that will be resolved, and in the next models that get uploaded, that'll be resolved and fixed up for us. So this is what the BIM Collaborate Pro will give you. What it also gives you is, as I said, more project functionality in terms of project management. One part of that is, if I close out of here, I know we're getting very close to the end, so I'm just going to try and do this fairly quickly. It's all very high level, this at the moment. I'm not going into the details at all. Just to give you an idea of what it is the design collaboration side of things. So rather than doing just a transmittal of files, what we can go is the extra step. Now, when you come into here, the important part is to click these dots up the top to expand out here. And here you can see the documents that have been released as a package by each of the industries involved in this particular process. So there's the architects, civil people, structure people, and could be many more. And it's a timeline down here. So starting at the beginning of the project, going through to the end. So what you would do is make a new package to be released to the other people in this project. It's working a bit faster now, which is good. And you can select as many models as you want to put into this package. So that's my new platform design V4 that's been updated. Maybe the surveyed surface as well. No, maybe not that one. We'll just take our design that's been updated. The survey surface may be the same as what it was previously. Documents, so I can go into my civil folders and I can tick on, there's the certification and a CSV file to go with it, add all those together. So make up a package of files, save button, and then we go and share that with the other people, the other members of the project. Now they're all going to get a notification. It'll have these details in it, package name, civil package number 8, or whatever you want to call it. Friday updates. And these may be files that they've got like XREF'd into their other drawings, etc., or into their Revit models, for instance, if it's a surface, those can be updated. You can also work with document sets as well, but I haven't gone into the details of those. And when you're ready, you go share. Everybody in the project will get a notification. And back in the timeline, back into here, that's my package. Back in the timeline up the top here, we should see that, click on here, a new one has been released. Last 2 hours, what's it there? Civil 8, yep, that's the one there. But all of these have little symbols on them. If I go back to what I could see previously before, this one here, it's been created, but that one has not been consumed. So what happens is they all get a notification, and if the other industry people that are working on this particular project want to consume those files, they can. They don't have to, but they can choose to consume them, and then it gets a different symbol on here once it's been consumed. if I look at this one here, here's one that they released. The architecture people released that Revit file that we were just looking at, and it was consumed on same day, 11:15. It could be a different day. No, it was a few hours or something later. No, less than a minute later it was consumed. So that was me setting this whole thing up. But it keeps a record of what has been released by who, when, who consumed it, and this is over and above the normal versioning of all the files that are kept up here. So there's a whole project management structure built on top of this. Now, I only know the very beginnings of this project management structure, just enough to nose my way through here and show you what it looks like. Again, if you want to know more about these, do go and have a talk with the folk at your local A2K Technologies office, and they will be able to put you in contact with our actual people who are the BIM experts, and we'll take you through that in particular detail for the sorts of things you're wanting. All right, so that's about the end of where I wanted to get up to. I will open it up to questions now, I think. So, any questions? No, I think Chris might have been answering some already. If you've got any questions, put them in additionally now. I think they've all been answered so far. Any ones that are there. I'll just keep that open on the questions for a little bit longer. But if you are interested in upcoming webcasts after this, well, in the beginning of the next year, I guess, now, just go to the A2K Technologies website. You can either put in this whole thing or just go to the tab at the top called events, and you'll see upcoming webinars that we've got going on. And more in particular, if you're wanting to get a bit more of a look at the BIM Collaborate Pro side of things, this is where you can get hold of us, and we can get you in touch with the right people, which is info@a2ktechnologies.com.au. Drop that as an email. Or your local A2K office, give them a call, and we'll be able to sort you out and get you into contact with somebody who can answer specific questions if you happen to have specific questions, rather than just what I've been able to cover today. But today the idea was to have a look from the civil point of view, what we have and how you can use it, and what in addition you can get if you're wanting to. So I don't see at the moment any additional questions, so I think I will close the webcast there. Oh, hang on, there's one coming through. No, it's not. It's somebody I know just saying thank you, so that's great. What I will do is I will say good afternoon to you right now. I will close off this recording and hopefully get to see you guys on the next few webcasts that we've got going on. Otherwise, I'll see you out on the web somewhere. Have a good day.